So in the previous lecture, in the yesterday, I have told you something about the uniform circular motion. So when a particle is describing UCM, it has two motions. I have told that when a particle is describing uniform circular motion, it has two motions. One is the circular motion or rotational motion about the center of the circle. Angular motion about the center of circle. Center of circle. While the other motion is linear motion. Linear motion over the circumference of circular path. Over the circumference of circular path. Over circumference of circular path. Means you can see here, suppose a particle is moving over this circle, it is moving over this circle, and this is the center of circular path. Here, this is the center of circular path. When the particle moves from P to Q, when the particle moves from P to Q, how much distance it had traveled along the circumference? So, how much distance it had traveled along the circumference when moving from P to the Q? It is equal to the length of this arc. It will be equal to the length of this arc. It's clear. And how much angle it will move? So you can see here by how much angle it will move. It is moving by this angle, moving by this angle. It's clear. Angle moved about the center of circular path, it is this. While the distance covered over the circumference is this. This you can denote by delta S. This is the delta theta. And this is the radius of circular path. If you take different points over this radius vector, if we take the different points, we will find that all the particles, all the points will rotate by the same angle. They will rotate by the same angle. But what will happen to the distance moved by them over the corresponding circle? This particle will describe a circular path of this radius. This particle will describe the circular path of this circular path. It's clear. So all are moving by the same angle, but the distances covered by them on the circular path which they adopt, that is different. It is traveling maximum distance. So since there are two types of motion, one is the angular motion, other is the linear motion, therefore there will be two velocities also. There will be two velocity. One is the angular velocity. Angular velocity, it is the angle moved per unit time. Angle moved per unit time. Angle moved per unit time. This is known as angular velocity. If in time interval delta t, particle moves by an angle delta theta. If in a time interval delta t, particle moves by an angle delta theta, then what will be the average angular velocity? Average angular velocity. So you can see omega will be equals to delta theta upon delta t. This will be the average angular velocity. It's clear. What will be the instantaneous angular velocity? Instantaneous angular velocity. So see here, instantaneous angular velocity, we determine when the time interval is very small. It is determined when the time interval very small, that is delta t is tending to 0. And when delta t is tending to 0, delta t is extremely small, it is negligible. Then what will be instantaneous velocity? Omega will be equal to d by dt of theta, or we also say it as d theta upon dt. It will be d theta upon dt. Is clear? Now I have told one more relation yesterday, which is the omega equals to 2 pi upon capital T. So as you know that when the particle complete one rotation over the circular path, when it is completing one rotation over the circular path, means it start traveling from point P, moves this way, this, and then once again reaches here. By how much angle it rotates? By 360 degree. 360 degree means how many radian? It is equal to 2 pi radian. This symbol means P means radian. 2 pi radian. And in what time it is completing one rotation? That is known as periodic time. It is the time in which one rotation is completed. Time in which one rotation is completed. This we also call as periodic time. We also call it as periodic time. So omega equals to 2 pi upon t. Omega equals to 2 pi upon t. Now see here, this 1 upon t is equal to n. N is what? Frequency of rotation. Frequency of rotation. N is the frequency of rotation. So see here, when it is the frequency of rotation, so we can write this relation omega equals to 2 pi upon t or 2 pi n. It's clear. Its unit already I have told, it is radian per second, because angle is taken is in radian and time is taken in second. So it is radian per second. It is clear. This its unit is this. Now it is what type of quantity? So angular velocity is a vector quantity. Angular velocity is a vector quantity. Velocity is a vector quantity. What will be the direction? So see here, its direction will be same as the direction of the circular path, the direction of the angle by which it moves. So see here, suppose it is describing anti-clockwise motion. If it is moving anti-clockwise means this way. This is the anti-clockwise rotation. What is the axis of rotation? Axis of rotation I am making by this pen. This is the axis of rotation. And it is moving anti-clockwise. So what will be the direction of omega? So direction of omega will be normal to its plane and vertically upward. Means if it is in the plane of paper, this circular path is situated on the plane of paper, so it will be vertically upward. Means this will be omega. It's clear. If it is motion over the circular path is clockwise, it is in the clockwise direction. This you can see. This is the radius axis of rotation. Axis of rotation. So what will be the direction of omega? It will be vertically down. It will be vertically down and normal to the plane of circular path. Normal to the plane of circular path. So this you will remember. This is the clockwise during clockwise and this is the during anti-clockwise. It is here. Now see here. This is an axial vector. Here it is called an axial vector because it is acting along the axis. Now after this, as we know that here there is one more motion that is called the linear motion. You have seen here. It is also moving linearly here. So it has one more velocity component that is called the linear velocity. Linear velocity. Suppose in the time delta t travels a distance delta s. It is traveling a distance delta s. So what will be the linear velocity? It is equal to linear distance traveled per unit time, that is delta s upon delta t. So what will be the instantaneous linear velocity? Instantaneous linear velocity. So that is equal to V equals to d by dt of s. That is ds upon dt. This is the instantaneous linear velocity. Now I am going to deduce a relation between omega and v. What is the relation between v and omega? It's clear. If you see here, you will find that all the particles, whether it is the particle number 1 or it is 2, 3, 4, 5, all are moving by the same angle in a given time. All are moving by a same angle in a given time. Therefore, all will have same angular velocity. Even the particle which is situated at the center of rotation, it is situated at the center of rotation. It is also moving by an angle theta. It is also moving by an angle theta. This particle is also moving by an angle theta. Its angular velocity is same as rest of all other particles lying over this radius. But if you see the linear velocity, in time delta t, it covers only this distance, while it covers this distance, traveling unequal distances. Therefore, linear velocity will be different, and that will depend upon the radius of the particle from the distance of the particle from the center of rotation. What will be the linear velocity of the particle? It will depend upon the distance of the particle from the center of rotation. Because you can see here, when it is at more distance, traveling more distance over the circumference. And why? Because describing a circle of bigger radius. So see here, what is the relation between omega and v? So you can see here, I'm showing you here, you can see. Now you can see this circle. Now this is the angle move. Here this one is the angle move. It's clear. What is the angle moved? Angle moved is delta theta. What is the radius? This radius OP, it is R. And what is the distance covered over the circumference? Delta S. Now there is a relation formula of angle. Angle equals to R. This is PQ is the R. PQ is the R. R is the part of circumference. It is the R. It's the part of circumference is known as R. So see here, angle equals to arc upon radius. You can see angle equals to arc upon radius. This I told linear velocity, angular velocity, everything I told. There is a relation angle equals to arc upon radius. Angle is delta theta. It's clear. Arc is delta s upon r. Now dividing both the sides by delta t. When you will divide both the sides by delta t, what will you get? What will you get? Delta theta upon delta t equals to 1 upon r into delta s upon delta t. Here you can see r is the radius of the circular path. It is the radius of the circular path. You can see r is the radius of the circular path. It don't have any effect over the time interval. It's clear. It do not depend upon the time interval. It has no effect on its value. There will be no effect on its value due to the time interval. So if we take a time interval which is infinitesimally small, when delta t is tending to 0, when delta t is tending to 0, then delta theta upon delta t, when delta t is tending to 0 means we are taking the limiting value. We are taking the limiting value. It's clear? So we write mathematically, we write in this way, that the same thing is written mathematically in this way. Limit delta t tending to 0, delta theta upon delta t. What does it mean? It means its value when delta t is infinitesimally small. It's clear? Its value when delta t is infinitesimally small. It's clear? So limit delta t tending to 0 equals to delta theta upon delta t. This thing is clear? Now see here, equals to 1 upon r, limit delta t tending to 0, delta s upon delta t. This will be the instantaneous angular velocity. This will be the instantaneous angular velocity, which we denote by d theta upon dt. It's clear? Which we symbolize by omega, which we represent by the symbol omega. Why? This is what? This is the instantaneous linear velocity. Instantaneous linear velocity, which we represent by ds upon dt, or represent by v. So you can see here, in place of this you write omega, in place of this you write v. So what will you get? You will get omega equals to v upon r. That is v equals to r into omega. V equals to r into omega. Now, how will you write it in the vector form? In vector form, how will you write? So, see here, you can see what will be the vector notation of this. So, we can write in vector form this way. Vector v equals to vector omega.
Sir,
Yes,
sir,
yes, you speak.
sir.
Now you speak something. In vector form, we will write. In vector form, it will be written this way. This way, vector v equals to vector omega cross vector r. Here, r is the radius vector. R is the radius vector. It's clear. Now see here. Then you can see one more thing. linear velocity v depends upon the radius of the circular path which the particle is describing. Linear velocity v depends upon the radius of circular path which the particle is describing. If the particle is describing a bigger radius circular path, then what will happen? Its linear velocity will be more. It's clear. Now see here one more thing. Here now we will going to do centripetal acceleration. What is centripetal acceleration? So all of you see here, what is centripetal acceleration? As already I have told, this is UCL is what type of motion? Acceleration. So who can tell UCM is what type of motion? It is a non-uniformly accelerated motion. Non-uniformly accelerated motion. If you see here, speed remains. Speed remains. Now you answer my question. Speed remains.
Constant.
Speed remains constant. It's clear. Now see here, velocity. Velocity is
changing.
variable. Velocity is variable. Velocity is non-uniform. It's clear. It is non-uniform. And why it is variable? Why it is variable? Because the
Sir, because the
Because
direction.
direction changes.
is changing. Direction of motion is continuously changing. When the particle is here, direction of motion is this. When the particle is here, direction of motion is this. When the particle is here, direction of motion is this. It is continuously changing. And acceleration, if you see, acceleration that is also non-uniform. Why it is non-uniform? Because the direction of acceleration is continuously changing. At every point, it will be directed towards the center of the circular path. It will be directed towards the center of circular path. So I am going to show you this centripetal acceleration. What is centripetal acceleration? So centripetal acceleration, it is the acceleration of the particle describing UCM. Acceleration of the particle describing UCM is known as centripetal acceleration. What is the formula of acceleration? A equals to delta V upon delta T. A equals to delta V upon delta T. Acceleration equals to rate of change of velocity. Now you can see here. Here I am going to show you. Here there is a particle which is describing uniform circular motion. It's on a circular path of radius r. Let in time t it covers a distance. It moves from A to B. In time delta t, it moves from A to B. It's clear. Covering what distance on the circumference? That distance I have taken as AB. This distance I have taken as AB. Now, what will be the velocity at the point A? Velocity at the point A has been shown by this arrow. You can see here, velocity at the point A has been shown by this arrow. It is shown by this arrow. This arrow is representing the velocity at the point T. While velocity at the point B, it is, as we know that velocity is along the tangent, so it is shown by this arrow. This arrow is representing the velocity at the point B. It is clear? So see here, you have to find the change in velocity. First of all, we will determine change in velocity. What will be the change in velocity? So change in velocity, you can see here, it will be the change in velocity equals to final velocity minus initial velocity. Vector v2 minus vector v1. So you find out the vector v2 minus vector v1. So how will you find vector v2 minus vector v1? First of all, you see what is the angle between both the vectors. What is the angle between these two vectors? So you can see here. I have produced arrow of v1. Arrow of v1 I have produced. It's clear. You can see here. You can name this point. You can name as some point. You can take P. This point I have named as P. This point has been named as P. So see here. Here this point is P. Now what will be this angle? This angle which I am tracing, you can see here. This is the angle between both the vectors. It is the angle between both the vectors. Have you got this? This angle I have to determine what will be the measure of this angle. Means what will be the angle between both the arrows. So you can see here this angle is what? Delta theta. What will be the measure of this angle? It will be equal to 90. Why it will be 90? Because it is angle between tangent and radius. Angle between tangent and radius. Similarly, here tangent is this, radius is this, so this will be 90. So 90, 90, 180. So what will be the measure of this angle? Who can tell? In quadrilateral OAPB, in quadrilateral OAPB, two angles are 90. This angle is delta theta. So what will be this angle? Who can tell?
180 minus delta theta.
180 minus delta theta. And when it is 180 minus delta theta, then what will be this angle?
Delta theta.
It will be delta theta. Is clear? Here it will be delta theta. Is clear? This angle is delta theta. So see here, I have drawn these arrows V1 and V2 here separately. You can see V1 it is parallel to V1. V2 it is parallel to V2. You can see once again. So these arrows I will draw separately. V1 has drawn here, you can see, and V2 has drawn here. You can see here, V2 is parallel to this, PQ is parallel to V2, and PR is parallel to V1, and having equal length also. What will be this angle? So if you see this angle will be equal to what? This angle will be equal to delta theta. What will be the measure of this angle? It will be delta theta. Is clear? Vector PR is parallel to vector V1. PQ is parallel to vector V2. And their lengths are also equals to this. both the vectors will have same length. Why? Because the speed is same. Both the vectors will have same length. And this angle is delta theta. So what will be vector v2 minus vector v1? What will be its direction? Is vector की direction क्या होगी? v1 से v2. So v1 से v2. So this will represent the delta v. This will represent the delta v. It's clear. Now you can see here. Here already I have. So this is 90, this is 90, this angle is when I have produced, so this equals to delta theta. Now all of you see here, here I have joined AB. AB I have joined. This has been joined here. If you see triangle OAB and triangle RPQ, triangle OAB and triangle RPQ. So what will you get? You will find that this angle is equal to this angle. Both are delta theta. What is OA upon OB? OA upon OB is equal to OA is radius, OB is radius, so it is R upon R equals to 1. What is PR upon PQ? PR upon PQ, it will be equal to modulus of vector V1 upon modulus of vector V2. Both are, their magnitudes are same, therefore B upon B equals to 1. It's clear? So this triangle will be similar to this triangle. Why they will be similar? You have already studied one property. If one pair of angle is equal and side including to them are in the same ratio, then both the triangle will be similar. If one pair of angle is equal and side including to them are in the same ratio, then both the triangle will be similar. And when they are similar, then ratio of corresponding sides will be same. So OA is corresponding to what? PR. OA upon PR equals to AB upon RQ. AB upon RQ equals to OB upon PQ. Ratio of corresponding sides remains same in the similar triangle. It's clear that remains same. So you can see here. I am showing here. If you write down their value, what is OA? OA equals to R. OA equals to R. What is PR? PR is the modulus of vector V1. Modulus of vector V1 simply V. It's clear. AB is equal to this. AB. You just write AB upon RQ. RQ is the modulus of this vector. Modulus of vector delta V. Modulus of the vector delta V. It's clear. AB is AB. So see here, modulus of delta V, that you can write simply delta. Now see here, you assume the case when delta theta is tending to 0, that is delta t is very small. When delta t is very small, delta t is tending to 0, then delta theta will also be very small. When delta theta will be very small, it will be like this. We have suppose this. In that case, you will find that this arc and this chord AB both will be equal. Here, chord is this. This is the chord, and arc is this. This is the arc. Their lengths are different. Arc is of greater length and chord is of smaller length. This is arc and this is the chord. Both are of different length. But when this angle is very small, this angle is very small, suppose this. In that case, arc and chord both will be of same length. R card, both will be of same length. So see here, when delta theta is very small, tending to 0, then AB equals to card AB will be equal to arc AB, and it is equal to delta S. It will be equal to delta S. So you can write R upon V equals to delta S upon delta V. Or what will be delta V? It will be V upon R into delta S. V upon R into delta S. So you can see here. Here this I have written everything. So you will get this relation. Delta S upon delta V equals to R upon V. It's clear. Delta S upon delta V equals to R upon V. So what will be delta V from here? Delta V will be equal to V upon R into delta S. V upon R into delta S. Now dividing both the sides by delta T. So delta V upon delta T equals to V upon R delta S upon delta T. Then taking the limit, when you will take the limit, it will become A, and this will become V. So A equals to V upon R into V. That is A equals to V square upon R. So rest I will explain in the next lecture because the time is very less.